water, everyone. Please stay hydrated. Always really good idea. So we got our classes. We got our races. We got our backgrounds. Decent equipment. You know, let me pull that up. Might as well just have the equipment tab. Actually, no, because even then it's like... maybe. Alright. I'll pull this over to the side. I'll pull up like 1, 2... Don't. Yeah, I'm not put that one up. What's another good one? Zika is a really good example of one that's really funny. Actually, no, we'll pull that up. Where's another one? I have a lot of characters that I don't burn through. Whoosh. Iron Bird. You know what? Actually. Calm. I don't remember why. Just. No, these two are going to be good enough. They're my characters I currently am using during other things. Welcome anyone who's joining on in. Please, everyone, make sure to stay hydrated. And as well, for any of my undead guests, don't forget that you can actively join the VC and we can just talk about character creation together. Right now, I'm making sure we got this. We'll pull up, like, create a character just to, like, have it there. Actually, no, here, I'll just do this. Please tell me I did not just accidentally make one. Okay. I have a lot of characters I need to, like, burn through, too. Class, race, background. Very simple. Features and equipment are always really nice. But let's just not forget the other source books that are really good for this. Player Handbook in general is always a good, reliable one. And let us pull up Tasha's Cauldron, because they introduced something interesting in this one, too. And you know what? Fuck it, let's talk about Von Richten's. Hey, Mex.
Hello.
I'm trying to think, Mex. Okay, these are outside of the standard like tabs for the game rules. These are the 4 source books I have because I think these will just aid character creation. The Player's Handbook, Xanathar's Guide, Tasha's, and Von Richten's, primarily for the dark gifts. Are there any of the other source books that we've gone over that you've seen that you think can aid in character creation, whether or not it's like actual min-maxing or roleplay? Or do you think those are like the good ones?
I want to say those are probably the good ones, especially Tasha's, because it added so much more stuff to customize your character.
Yeah. All right then. Yeah. Today we're gonna be doing character creation. I'm pretty sure you have some expertise doing this as well. If you haven't already, please go get yourself some water. I'm a little low on one of my bottles, so I'll be right back. I'm gonna go grab one. Be right back, stream. You know, hold on. I'll see this. Here. Fine. Now be right back. Because it's like a fork, you know? No. Yeah, 100%. All right. Let's see. All right. Putting back on headphones. Let me lower the volume of this. There we go. All right, all right. And we definitely have passed the timer, so I'm just going to make the introductions very quick. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Nerdy Talk with XenoLich, where the one that won the poll this week was Character Creation 101. So a very small crowd today. We might get more people coming on in later. However, though, in the meantime, we have Mex, who you'd all know as Hallie from our Monday game.
Hello.
And we have Skittles, who you'd all know as Dell in our Saturday games.
Hey.
And so today we're talking character creation. There's a lot that really goes into a character, but at the same time, it's not really all that hard to come up with. I say that primarily to help people who have never played Dungeons & Dragons, or people that are just nervous about making characters, kind of ease into it. That your character is your core thing that you are playing throughout the entire campaign, but it shouldn't be something that is daunting in itself. I want to say for your first time, kind of getting a grasp of what you need can be a lot, especially when you realize all your options. But when it comes down to it, the most basic things you need to pick for your character is your class, your race, and your background. Class is obviously the core mechanic that determines what your playstyle is, as well as what overall thematic you're going for. The race pretty much determines your aesthetic, your looks, as well as any abilities you get from being said race. And backgrounds. Backgrounds are something that it varies from Dungeon Master to Dungeon Master, but these should be what your character was before they became an adventurer, or what stepping stone in their path that led them to be an adventurer. There's a few ways DMs can run this. I think a homebrew rule I'm going to explore when we get to the game is that to help make people's backgrounds a little bit more important, the two skills associated with your background, I'm going to make a homebrew rule where once per long rest you can re-roll either of the skills associated with your background. I think that's going to make a nice little way to have backgrounds feel more important. Like you spent years doing this, or you spent some length of time focusing on this background. Might as well give you a buff for that. But let me go ahead and just say, let me hear a little bit from Max and Skills. What would you guys say is by far your favorite part when it comes to making a character?
For me is having an idea and then looking how to make it a possibility using what's available. So it's like, let's say you want to make this particular character from, like, let's say a show or something you like.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get that and make it into D&D and make it work?
Yes, I like that. Do you have any examples from any games that you're partaking in that are stuff like that? Like, I know we have our Sunday game, but I'm curious about any characters you might have made in the past, in my games, or just in general.
I've made different characters. I made like the Master Chief from Halo, John Wick, the Hound from Game of Thrones. I just kind of made him a battle master because it would make sense. He's kind of just pushing people around.
Mm-hmm. All right. And how about you, Skittles? What would you say is by far your favorite part about making a character?
Oh, hold on 1 second.
Okay. Let's see.
Sorry, my internet was doing a thing.
That's okay.
For me, it's kind of the same, yeah. I don't go into it with a general idea. I have things that I like to do, like certain classes and backgrounds that I like to explore, kind of stay in. It's more like what can I create with what's given to me?
Right.
What can I create with the setting that we're in? What can I create with the particular group that might be joining or could be joining or have an idea to join in?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what can I create out of this and bring to the table?
Okay.
I think is my favorite part.
So then, going along with that, what would you say is something that is very, I want to say, a common thing that you look for when it comes to making a character? Because I know, what we talked about last time. You love making bards, but I think it's because it stemmed off of you like playing a support. Would you say that every single character you like to have some sort of utility that aids the party, or is there something more to it than that?
I think, see a need, fill a need is kind of the motto when it comes to what I want in characters. So as long as the flexibility is there, and with Bard, again, I love Bards, they're extremely flexible and haha, funny pun or whatever,
Mm.
Bards and flexibility, but like you can go pretty much anywhere across the board with any of the colleges and with any of the features that you grab, and even with like specific sets of colleges, you can get access to damn near everything that you could possibly want. So going into it, like loving support characters, and loving flexibility, and loving the adaptability, and then having certain classes that give me access to all of these things is really, that's where it's at for me.
Yeah. All right. All right. I think, putting my 2 cents on where it is that comes from me making character creation. Some of my favorite things is kind of just, well, yes, see a need, fill a need is definitely a very nice idea. Obviously, when you're asked the question, be selfish. If you're the person who needs to make the first character to kind of incentivize the rest of what everyone needs to do, then I usually just kind of like go with something very ambitious, and it doesn't even matter like, for me the class doesn't kind of come to mind when I hear ambitious. For me, it's more like I'll take the term ambitious and I will say I want to strive for something. Usually based off my whims, I'll go for something different. And a lot of what it is for me starts with what I have in mind for this character when it comes to their mentality. Damon and Minnow are both my latest characters that I'm currently working with. Damon being the one who I work with on the Sunday stream, on the Sunday games, and Minnow is the person who I'm using for our text-based roleplay. He is a goblin gravity wizard, and when you take a look at both of them, Damon comes from a kind of a fucked up history where his mom is dead, his dad is kind of an ass, and he moves on for that. But whereas Minnow is pretty decent family life, but he still grew up in a location. Both of them aim for an aspiration that is very beyond them, beyond their normal constraints, especially when it comes down to like their racial stereotypes. Damon is a half orc who seeks to make a better community for everyone for what he lacked. And Minnow strives to explore the world and see things that he could have never seen, it being a goblin from a tribe that constantly kills people around them or kills people that are not of the nation. Most people, at least like by traditional D&D standards, when they see goblin, they immediately think, oh, it's bloodthirsty, it wants to kill us all. Minnow doesn't want that. He wants to just explore, see what there is. And so my aspect comes from trying to just randomly pull up what mindset I'm looking for on the whim, and then just running with that, seeing what class best fits that. But like we said, the core bits of making a character are: you need a class, you need a race, and you need a background. Realistically, you can start with either of these ones. I personally like starting with class and race, with class taking the higher priority most of the time. And then background just kind of like stems off of like, as I'm coming up with my backstory, I'm like, oh wait a minute, I need to pick a background, and I will like look through my backstory and see which of these backgrounds best associates with that. I'm not sure if any of you have ever tried making a character from background first, but it definitely is something that I've considered for some people. And then there's other stuff that comes into it, like, oh, if you're playing a character, what level are they? If it's a variant human, what feat do you want them to start with? And of course, something I never really see, but it is always something good to take into consideration is, do you have starting gold that you can use to buy starting equipment, or do you want to just take your starting equipment that's outright given? I think more often than not, the starting equipment usually prevails better than what your starting gold could be, because I never really see anyone who like wants to start with plate mail, unless there's a DM who's like, oh, you guys can take certain items with you.
And I think with that, a lot of it's up to whoever is running whatever game you're going through
Mhm.
to kind of set parameters when it comes to like the economy.
Exactly. When in doubt, at the end of the day, work with the DM. The DM is the person who is going to guide you as to like what's okay, what's not okay, what are your limitations, what are your minimals that he looks for. There's one other thing that's not shown here, but it's also dice rolling. Sorry, stat allocation. The three general methods of stat making are you either are rolling for it, you're doing a point buy, or you're doing standard array. Standard array is pretty much the here is a set of numbers that you will assign to either thing. It's a guaranteed, whereas point buy you can kind of every stat starts at level 8, and from there you have 27 points with 14 costing 1 extra point and 15 costing 2 extra points. So knowing that, people can really like min max a little bit more with point buy, and then is the most commonly used one, which I think you know I personally like using this one and having my players do it. It's rolling. Now, when I have my players roll, I usually look for a minimal overall number. Whenever you roll, you take 4d6s, you roll them all. You drop the lowest one and keep the remaining three and add them together to become one whole stat number. From there, you repeat the process about 5 more times until you have all 6 stats. And I usually tell my players I am looking for you to have a minimal of 75 points. It used to be 70, but I kind of adjusted it a little bit more because I found 75 provides higher minimals as well as like higher maximums in the event that you get a low roll on one of them. And so when you tally it all up, 75 can give you stats that are just a little bit above average, which makes sense for an adventurer. If you manage to get 80 or 90, then it's like, that's just the way the RNG is. I got an 18 all stats. Haha, yes, very nice. I'm worried for how it's going to be balancing the game around you now. But still, RNG, we can't really complain. If you happen to get low rolls, there's why I provide a minimal so you can get like an average number. And if you happen to get really high, well, then there you go.
This is this was for me the most intimidating part about the first time I was into character creation. Like how do you do this? Like how do you allocate these things? How do you point by? How do you do these numbers? Like I don't understand. So
I
that was probably the biggest
yes.
thing that I needed to wrap my head around. It was a lot at first, but I got the hang of it.
Mm-hmm. And I think there's also something to be said about as DMs, especially if you have newbies at the tables, you need to remember that while yes, they know how to read, that doesn't exactly mean that they know what's due. For example, back when we had a Tuesday morning D&D session, one of our players was playing a paladin, and because they didn't exactly look into the paladin too much, they decided to make charisma their dump stat, and so they had a negative. I think it was either a -1 or a -2 in charisma, and their paladin spells were just never really quite as effective as they would like them to be. So they just ended up using the spell slots for smites anyway. But still, DMs kind of let your players know that what's recommended. Well, for this class, it's recommended that you that you make this stat your priority, this stat your secondary, and then this stat your dump stat. I always think that's a good way to take a look at it because from there, the player, it's up to them what they want. But like if any of us look at let's take a look class barbarian. Barbarian's pretty obvious. You want high strength to do damage. You want high con to survive a lot of stuff. And your typical barbarian dumps intelligence because intelligence is never really a factor when it comes to barbarian skills, nor does it come in a factor into any of the barbarian's abilities. Bard is a super high charisma based class with dexterity as their secondary because that's what their armor scales off of. And then on top of this, you have Bard's dump stats could be a few other things. A lot of people say Bard's dump stat should be strength because they're dexterity based. And that's another thing to also take a look at. I usually tell people when it comes to a physical stat, take a look at which stat is more important. Hold on. There we go. When it comes to your hold on, and we got Bird. Hello, Bird.
Number.
Hello.
How are you?
I have time for I must lay down for sleepy time.
Yes. In case you're, so first off, everyone, this is Bird, who you'd all know as Xandro from our Tuesday games.
Yeah, the man who dies a whole awful fucking lot.
Mm-hmm. And so, right now today's Nerdy Talks topic is character creation 101. We're kind of going over what it is to make a character. And I was kind of going over, like, how DMs should recommend what stats are primary, secondary, and dump. So that way it makes it easier for newbies to understand, like, where they kind of allocate their points to. But let me go ahead and, like, let you know the opening question, Bird. What is your favorite thing about character creation?
Seeing what dumb shit I can make work.
All right. Elaborate more on that. Like what? Like give me an example on like why is it that really makes you happy to do that in character creation?
Because it allows me to play as much of a shitter as I am in real life, while still maintaining an actual like I'm not just annoying. I'm actually worth a damn in game.
Here, allow me to help. I'm assuming you're referring to you like making a character who is a troll, an effective character who can be, who can definitely push people's buttons and maybe even the DM's buttons.
Yes, because it's not a fun character if it just pushes buttons and can't provide anything for the team.
Right, because then at that point you're making a type of like a player base that or a DM that like might not enjoy your presence. But if you're an effective player and you're actually providing to the game, then it's like by all means troll away.
Or in Bird's case, become a meat shield.
Exactly right. And so when in doubt, I actually just totally forgot to take a look at this. If you take a look in each of the classes, when they tell you what saves you're proficient with, that's probably a good thing to look into when it comes down to it. One, if not both, of your saving throws that you're proficient in should be your priority. And of course, spellcasters, your priority should be the stat that your spells are based off of, and for physical classes, it's the stat that your damage comes from. So, for example, monks are all about dexterity and wisdom because wisdom affects their saves and dexterity affects their punches. Sometimes wisdom affects both. Rogues are all about dexterity because dexterity is for their stealth and how they get their finesse weapons to do damage. And there's just all types of things that come into taking a look at minimals. For today, we are going to be making a few characters for the point of this little mini workshop. Let me quickly go ahead and take my mom's slipper away from Rocco. Hey, big butt, move.
And I've returned, technically.
Alright. And so, let's take a look. It's in the book. Character creation. So, I would like all my participants to pull up D&D Beyond, pull up the character sheet, and if you can't, then that's fine. You can still help contribute by adding items. Like I said, if you can't, it's still okay. You can still contribute by adding inspiration or ideas. But
I think I will be adding inspiration and ideas.
okay, so we are gonna go ahead and do Steve with all those E's. That is the name of this person. Depending on your game, your DM's gonna allow certain source materials. I am very much the allow everything. I also like to add optional features. Optional features are very important because of Tasha's culture and everything. Speaking of which, you might be wondering, like, when it comes down to making a character, what can I do? What books do I need to really know how to make a character? And so that's when in doubt. When in doubt, the Player's Handbook is by far the most core book. It is the book that will let you know about just about everything when it comes to what your character can do, what are rules, classes, races, and backgrounds. But you might be wondering, what if I want more options? What if I want to do more with more than what's given. And so this is why, in this order, in my personal opinion, this is the order you should be prioritizing those books: Player's Handbook, Xanathar's Guide for Everything, Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, and this one's a mild one because it's more of a DM book than it is a player book, but Von Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. Xanathar is very important because this is the book that has the most subclasses that they offer. This is where you get a lot of your like really interesting ones that like become cores to a lot of people's builds. The Hexblade is very important one from here. The Way of the Drunken Master is one that's very much popular here, and so is the College of Glamour for bards. And so you have that. Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, while it does provide a lot of subclass options, this is the book that really gave options when it came to customizing your origins, customizing your races, and changing how a skill works in Dungeons & Dragons. There's a lot of subclasses in this. Don't get me wrong, this one I think has Xanathar's beat, but still, this one is more, in my opinion, about like the customization process of D&D when it comes to your stuff. And lastly, Von Richten's Guide to Ravenloft is about here's some backgrounds that change. Here's some subclasses, but the big thing is the dark gifts. Depending on your DM, he might allow you to make deals without requiring levels in Warlock by doing a dark gift. This is how you can get some abilities that can help you survive death, some abilities that make it easier to attack, and some abilities that just make it easier to roleplay and perform skill checks with. As I'm going to go ahead and we're all going to be making characters, I want you guys to think up. Go ahead and let us know into your let's hear into your mind. How are you gonna make a character for right now? I go ahead and think of that while I quickly pull up. While I quickly just fill up Rocco's bowl. Be right back.
Did not know they had a randomize option.
There's a randomize option.
Yeah, it says choose a level, choose race, choose a class, allow multi-class, allow feats, character name, then create. Yes, I know. Let's take level 3. Let's pick a race. Sure, we'll talk about
All right. So, my bad if any of you guys were bringing up stuff. So what are you guys thinking for your character that you want to do for this one?
I found the randomize option.
Oh yeah. Go ahead and do you have a link to the randomize option? Oh wait, no, you're talking about the randomize. Yes, in character creation. You know what? That's not a bad one. Let's make a level. For the purposes of this, let's make a level 3 character because that gives the randomized options more room to do stuff. All right, level 3, allow multi-class, don't allow feats, and character's name is. I'm gonna just put Skittles to see what this does. And view character sheet. Alright, this provided us with a Drow Barbarian Monk Rogue. What the fuck?
Oh my god, a slippery one, eh?
Wow.
Is it weird that when you were like, I'm gonna name it Skittles, I was like, it's gonna be a barbarian?
Oh
No,
my god.
it's a whole bag of Skittles. They just reached in and grabbed all the colors.
Here, let's see. Alright, Bird. I'm gonna assign you we're gonna do the randomize and we're just gonna set it to level 3. We're gonna see what we get when we put your name in there, okay?
Oh boy.
And Bird, no matter what, this is the character you're gonna be working with for the stream, okay? For this particular one. Okay.
This is your character in the homebrew world.
Why do you always get these ones? So it is a Ghostwise Halfling that is a 3rd level fighter. And on top of this, the subclass is the Arcane Archer.
Oh wow.
Oh, I'm
It
so
knew
happy.
who you were.
It knew. It knew, yes, make him a tiny race.
No, it would have been 1,000 times funnier if it decided to make me a gnome.
It would have. It's weirdly coincidental that it brought you really close to that. But
Yeah, this one gave me a Aircopter monk. I didn't allow for multi-class, which is probably why I said.
that's probably a good way to look at it. Let me do that as well. So let me just set it up. Randomize, 3rd level. Let me do another one called Skittles too. All right, and this one we got an Orc of Eberron, 3rd level sorcerer. This one
those are those the brainy orcs or those the mean orcs?
I think they're brainy, but on top of this is also a shadow magic sorcerer.
Hey.
So
See, I could get down with that.
yeah. So we have some pretty interesting characters, but Mex, what did you decide to come up with for the purposes of the stream?
I like to sometimes randomly come up with races you don't really see people play. So I was like, Gith Yankee Wizard.
Gith Yankee
I would
Wizard.
have said grung.
No, I feel like I like if we're talking about races that definitely like don't see the light of day, it's Gith. For some, I think it's just generally like their look. Grung, I would 100% hear a Grung more often than I would hear a Gith, because Grung are kind of little funny. They're wee little tree frogs.
I
That's
like
why
the
I
Gith Yankee
fucking
because they come with proficiencies with great swords, so it's a wizard who's carrying a great sword around.
That's an interesting idea. I did not realize that.
That's fucking low. Oh, that's genius.
And so we have these like just characters that we come up with. For me, so this is Steve. I'm going to decide that Steve is. Let's see, what's another race I don't see get played as often? And you know what? I will pull up.
I think like Locath.
Yeah, you know, yeah, we don't have a Locathith. All right, Locathith. For those of you wondering, to custom choose which abilities you get increased, you want to go to Origin Manager. Origin ability score increase is what you want to check in, and then from here you're able to pick and choose how you want this character to be their stats, because D&D Wizards of the Coast very much realized that people wanted to play certain races within certain classes, but to do so it means that you're going to not get as much of a bonus towards those stats as much as you would like, and so they wanted to add things in by allowing you to now make an innately brainy orc, an innately charismatic wood elf, or even a very light on their feet Goliath. This is by far one of my favorite things, because it means that, you know, stereotypically, as much as an orc should be like a big, meaty, brutal class, now he can be the genius, the brains of the operation. And it's what makes this whole custom origin so cool. So, we take Locathith. I'm going to leave that ability thing. And let's see. What is our Locathith going to be as far as class goes?
I mean, the ironic thing would be Wildfire Druid.
Right. He became so in love with fire because he had never seen it. That inspired. Oh, hold on, wait. Hold on, let me actually see this. I have an idea. Ready for this? So, we're gonna do Ranger.
Trade.
We're gonna bump this up to 3rd level so we can pick the subclass. And the Ranger archetype is the Swarm Keeper Ranger.
Oh, I had a question for you about the Swarm Keeper.
Go ahead.
If I, per se, wanted to, rather than have insects of some sort for my swarm, could I do rats?
Actually, funny enough, I was gonna consider like changing it up, because let's take a look. Gathered Swarm. A swarm of intangible nature spirits has bonded itself to you and can assist you in battle. Until you die, the swarm remains in your space, crawling on you or flying and skittering around you when in your space. You determine its appearance or generate its appearance by rolling on the swarm appearance table. And so notice this, that they give you examples of options: swarming insects, miniature twig blights, fluttering birds, and playful pixies. I don't see why they wouldn't allow you to make a swarm of rats.
So what you're saying is I could be the Rat King.
Yes.
Or
But for this
the
purpose,
motherfucking Lizard King.
But for this purpose, I was thinking this. So it's a nature spirit, right? There's nothing that's really stopping this nature spirit from, like, you know, what's to stop a, like, your swarm of rats, that if the swarm has built-in abilities that allow it to fly, right, it should make sense, because, there's, like, a few things that allow you to, like, do stuff. But yes, I know the swarm can fly, right? It's indicated that. And so, what I was thinking for this is, this Locathic who has the Swarm Keeper is a swarm of piranhas. Like, when he summons them, it's just like, you see these piranhas that, like, swim through the air, that can just go after their target of choice. And so that was, like, what came to my mind. And so we have this idea for...
Fucking idea for a character now, holy shit.
Yes. And of course, you know,
Character.
there's a very big meme that when it comes down to making the Swarm Keeper, I think one of the first things that comes to people's minds is the Bee Swarm Keeper.
Hold on, I could create a new character.
Yes.
Exactly. What's this? A situation. What's this? A situation that could be fixed by an abundant number of bees. Some bees ought to fix that.
Bees fix everything.
Exactly. And so we are going to go ahead and, now that we have an idea of what we want to do here, let's head over to a description and let's check background. So this is a Swarm Keeper with some piranhas, who was Locathic. So what were they before they became this? I like the idea of our Swarm Keeper buddy being, let's see, a smuggler. That's it. We're making a smuggler Swarm Keeper. And so this is the type of person who, like, used to be like a smuggler based off of, like, what is the word I'm looking for? Boat fare travel. He'd go from one area to the other. He'd have his own little dinghy that he used to help smuggle items around. And so for this, we're gonna do deception, which is pretty obvious because he needs to be able to lie to stuff. And we'll also add some insight, because being a smuggler means that you should be able to have like a bullshit detector, whether or not, like, this client is gonna be a good client for you to make a deal with. From there. So now that we know what proficiencies we're getting from our description, let's take a look over at class.
I'm creating a fucking
And from our ranger skills, we are going to go ahead and select a few things. First, I think it makes sense that as a smuggler, we should be proficient with stealth. We'll have survival, and we'll take animal handling. So we got stealth, survival, and animal handling all built in here. Our favorite enemy, which we can optionally choose. I'm going to take Deft Explorer, favorite foe, primal awareness, nature's veil, ranger, spellcasting, martial versatility. Yeah, I want all the optional stuff up here. And so we're choosing our Deft Explorer, so that way we can, you know, get a canny at first level. So we get one proficiency that we are considered expertise in. And so from our skills, I'm going to say that we are going to primarily focus on... Oh, here it is. We are going to primarily focus on making insight our big one. And we'll pick some languages. Let's go ahead and take... We need to make some deals with people, so we'll take Undercommon. And we'll take... What's another good one to really work with? Goblin is a pretty interesting race, so it is an interesting choice. Fighting style. I like the idea of making this ranger someone who has the... In general, archery is always really good. I'll hold off on fighting style until I can better determine what I want to do with this. And now let's head on over to race. I'm going to pick to increase my dexterity by 2 and my wisdom by 1, since rangers are, when it comes down to their spells, they're wisdom based, and when it comes down to their damage from their ranged weapons or, you know, dual wielding weapons. They're dexterity based. And now let's take a look at, we got race, we got class, we're just waiting to pick fighting style. Now we just need to do abilities. So we're going to go ahead and do manual rolls. There is an option to roll it on D&D Beyond with the bot that we have, but for the purposes of the stream, I'm just going to do it right here. Let's roll. Nice. So we got 11. We got 10. I like all the meaty sounds. We got 8. We got 12. 15, big money. And we got 15. So we got two 15s, a 12, 8, 10, 11. The overall point value of this is going to be, let's see, 30, 40, that's another 20, that's 60, 71. So I would say this would be a reset to it all. So we're just going to roll one by one. Okay, an 18 off the bat, so far so good. 15. Looking at 11. 10. 10. And lastly, 13. Just once again, taking a look based off of this. We have 20, 31, 49, 59, 64, 74, 77 points. This is exactly a one that I would say meets the minimal. And from here, let's go ahead and just start applying this stuff. We're going to put the 18 in our dex because our dex is going to be really nice. We're going to put the 15 in wisdom. And then from here, my dump stat, technically I want to make strength. And as my other one, I'll make intelligence by it. I'm going to put the 13 in charisma because I like talking my way through stuff, and the 11 in con.
I am here.
Welcome, Eli. We are currently in character creation, as you might have already seen.
I'm
Yes, I
creating the
see.
fucking Lizard King.
And so, Eli,
Hi.
what is it that you decided to bring to the table for your character creation?
Alright. You know, I quickly brainstormed this and I had the urge to come here. I would like an orc, right?
Okay.
An orc warlock whose patron is a fairy. Or I think there's the fairy,
And
right?
an orc warlock with the fae, with the fae being patron. Yes.
Wait, isn't there like there's a patron that it's like a fairy of like some sort, or like?
Fairies come from the Feywild, and so technically the archfey could be a fairy.
Oh, well in that case, yeah.
There you go. All right, so we're gonna apply our ability scores, and now take a look at this. Right off the bat, I know this is one of those min-max things, but it's just what we ended up rolling. We have a 20 in dexterity, a 16 in wisdom, and every other score has been unaffected due to the fact is that's just the way the dice rolled. And now we are gonna go ahead and take a look back at my character. My character is someone who, let's take a class. They still have pretty low con, so I want them to be further in the back. So with this, we'll go ahead and take archery. Archery, you know, and on top of this, it's ranger. Most of their spells and abilities benefit when they're at a range. It's almost like the class was built for that, but it's advertised as something that is capable of doing range and melee. Kind of weird. Abilities, descriptions, and equipment. From here, equipment can be either your starting equipment or you can roll for gold based off of what class you pick. I like starting equipment. Generally a good idea. We'll take leather armor because scale mail is medium and I have higher than average dexterity. We'll take 2 short swords because it's always nice to have a backup for melee. Take an explorer's pack because we are of the land. And you know what? We're smugglers, so we have a fancy leather vest. Ooh. From here, you just go ahead and equip everything that was given to your character. And we head on over to our character sheet. And voila, we have Steve the Smuggler. And it's at this point, you know, you can really just go at it, have fun with your character, and that is just but one character. Now, a lot of when it comes down to character creation is I've made my character and I'm going to my first game. However, though, one huge weakness I can see a lot of newbies having is how do I roleplay with this character? That, my good friend, is where you get into the mindset. So, there's a few things that we did gloss over when we did go into it. I'm going to go ahead and go back to our edit character. And as I'm going back and taking a look and about to explain this, I want to hear from, so once again, we got the Orc. We got the Orc Archfey Warlock. We have the Locathic Swarmkeeper. Mex, Skittles, and Bird, what would you say you were working with again?
I am making the Lizard King, a lizard folk swarmkeeper.
Alright. And like you said, it's a Lizard
Fucks
King.
around with geckos.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the Lizard King, man.
Alright. Skittles and Mex?
I decided to do the Gith Yankee Gravity Wizard.
Ooh.
Bounty Hunter.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Don't forget your backgrounds. Your backgrounds are very key. And Skittles. Alright. In the meantime, Eli and Bird, what did you guys say was your background choices for this?
I just picked it, and it is Hermit.
Okay. And Eli?
I didn't look at them. I kind of forgot about it, honestly.
It's okay. It's okay.
But to, I guess from the top of my head, what is the one that is like very like just religious? What's the one that gives you the most religion?
Priest.
There's
There you
Priest. There's Acolyte. There's a few that give you pretty decent religion checks. But let's take a look at description, background, and here is one of the best things to know how to roleplay your character. Every single background in Dungeons & Dragons has suggested characteristics. These are characteristics that really allow you to either suggested ones to guide you in how you should be selecting and coming up with your own traits, or you can just go with the selected ones and try to roleplay based off of what was picked. On top of this, if you're having a hard time selecting from the suggested, there's a reason why there's just enough that you can roll a certain dice with. So for personality traits, there's 8 of them, you roll a d8. For ideals, bonds, and flaws, there's 6 of them, so you can roll a d6. You need 2 personality traits, 1 ideal, 1 bond, and 1 flaw. These are core to understanding how your character acts and how they feel. For the purposes of the stream, we are going to be making a character that is just based off suggested. So let's take a look at personality traits for the smuggler. I think number 1 is the most hilarious as a Locathic. I love being in the water but hate fishing. It's like, no duh, he hates fishing. He probably is someone who like refuses to eat any sort of fish. Or maybe it's something that like he had a bad fishing experience when he was younger. Because I think Locathic do still like hunt down other like things, and they're like best friends with seals, from like the way this image would let you believe. But let's see. I think of everything in terms of monetary value. That's a pretty good one. I never stop smiling. Nothing rattles me. I have a lie for every occasion. I love gold but won't cheat a friend. I enjoy doing things others believe to be impossible. I become wistful when I see the sun rise over the ocean. And I am no common criminal. I am a mastermind. Okay. I like 2 of these. One of which is nothing rattles me. I have a lie for every occasion due to the fact that he has that deception bonus. And on top of this, let's also jump at, I think of everything in terms of monetary value. So he is a very money-focused liar. Ideals, wealth, heaps of coins in a secure vault is all I dream of. Smuggler's code. I uphold the unwritten rules of the smugglers who do not cheat one another or directly harm innocents. All for a coin. I'll do nearly anything if it means I turn a profit. Peace and prosperity. I smuggle only to achieve a greater goal that benefits my community. 5. People. For all my many lies, I have a high value of friendship. And 6. Daring. I am most happy when risking everything. Let's go ahead and I'm going to put wealth as his big ideal. This smuggler very much has this like money-hungry idea. Bonds. My vessel was stolen from me, and I burn with the desire to recover it. I intend to become the leader of a network of smugglers that I belong to. I owe a debt that cannot be repaid in gold. After one last job, I will retire from the business. I was tricked by a fellow smuggler who stole something precious from me. I will find that thief. And I give most of my profits to a charitable cause, and I don't like to brag about it. So I'm going to go ahead and put he wants to become the leader of a network of smugglers that he belongs to. And flaws. Lion is reflexive, and sometimes engage it without realizing. I think I'm just as a sign I'm probably going to go with this one because that just works in line with what our personality trait is. I tend to assess my relationships in terms of profits and loss, another really good flaw. I believe everyone has a price and am cynical towards those who present themselves as virtuous. I struggle to trust the words of others. Few people know the real me. Or, though I act charming, I feel nothing for others and don't know what friendship is. I'm going to put lion as reflexive. And so with this, we take a look at our personality characteristics. And so, a repeat. Nothing rattles me. I have a lie for every occasion, and I think of everything in terms of monetary value. I idolize wealth. Heaps of coin and secure vaults is all I dream of. When it comes down to it, I intend to become a leader of the network of smugglers I belong to, and lion is a bit reflexive for me and sometimes engage in it without even realizing. And so with these traits, we now have a character who you can always look back to and realize, what can I do to, oh man, what would my character do in this situation? Let me look at my personality characteristics and see what I can come up with. And so that's how we get all of these. But let's go ahead and see what you guys have come up with if you've been doing that.
Would anyone like to volunteer?
Go for it. Volunteer, my good sir.
Ah, shit. Okay. So, as you know, the Lizard King, the biggest of the lizard swarm.
Okay.
For personality traits, as you know, a hermit, I've went with I'm oblivious to etiquette and social expectations.
Okay.
And have been isolated for so long that I rarely speak, preferring gestures and the occasional grunt.
Okay.
Just to kind of go with that more feral kind of, not exactly correct in the head.
Mm-hmm.
For ideals, there were none really there that really worked, so I just picked power. Solitude and contemplation are paths towards mystical or magical power.
Okay.
For bonds, nothing is more important than the other members of my hermitage, order, or association, which I'm just counting as the lizards.
Yeah.
And then for flaws, I harbor dark, bloodthirsty thoughts that my isolation and meditation failed to quell, and I like keeping secrets and won't share them with anyone.
Okay. That's a pretty good set of traits you got going on right there. All right.
I was aiming for the shifty psycho.
How about Mex, Eli, and Skittles? All right. I heard it. I heard you talk. It's time to tell us your traits.
Oh, okay. So so when I tried to look for the race orc on here, it didn't have it. So I went with the best next option was fairy. But
Okay.
wait.
Wait. As a side note, you couldn't find orc on there?
No.
Out of
It's
curiosity,
not working with your sources.
did you make the character in the campaign, Eli?
Wait.
So here, if you go to
Uh,
if you go to the campaign and create a character in there, it will give you access to all the sources like I own, and that's how you get all the options.
I have to look for it.
It is okay.
Oh, Okay. Hold on.
Go to the campaign. Go to the campaign. Select view campaign, and then there should be an option to create a new character in there.
Oh God, wait, I have to go to the good old websites real quick.
I know, right? Oh, I'm guessing you made it on the app, didn't you?
Yes.
It is okay. But let me go ahead and as you're doing that, Mex, tell us a little bit about your character's personality traits and flaws and such.
I kind of went with I always have a plan. Always stay calm. Don't get emotional. Because I feel like that makes sense for a bounty hunter. Like if they're going after a bounty, they probably plan it out. They try not to freak out.
Okay.
For flaws, I took if things are looking bad, I'm out of there, which makes sense because a bounty is not worth your life.
Okay.
Also, what's it called?
Ideals and bonds.
If a innocent person is in jail for a crime I committed, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
And then the ideal is I don't steal from others of my trade. So it's like respect other bounty hunters' bounty. For bonds, I couldn't really find one that I liked.
All right. Well, here. So then, what did you come up with? One that would make that aligned with your character that you have in mind?
Yeah, because I was kind of picturing it would be more like a social group of bounty hunters,
Okay.
kind of like a guild. So it's kind of like more along the lines of like respecting other people who are from that same group.
Okay. So very much, and depending on the campaign, especially if the DM led with like a premise like you all are bounty hunters together, regardless of whatever class you all are, you guys are bounty hunters. Some of you could have been a bounty hunter before today's events, but you guys are joining like a group of bounty hunters, and you guys are forming a party to go and hunt down bounties. In which case, having this type of bond would make it that like you don't cheat out your other fellow players due to the fact that you all are of the same profession. But that just varies from person to person. So when it comes down to it, that's why like sometimes your personality traits could be determined based off of how the campaign is, and sometimes it's really much just like you have an idea in mind for how this character is going to act, and it's sometimes built upon what you're going through. Eli, how's it going for you?
Hold on. D&D Beyond is not working for me at all.
That is more than fine. Go ahead and continue as you were doing with your character then. You selected Fairy, you said?
Yes.
A fairy who made a deal with another fairy. That's interesting.
I kind of changed it
Oh,
to
what'd you go with?
fighter.
Okay, so a fairy fighter. Okay, let us know more about this.
So the fairy fighter was going to be like, oh, or like my idea of it was like, they're seen as weak, so this character wanted to, prove themselves as like a tiny warrior. So it's like they will be on the front line trying to prove themselves as a fighter,
Right, despite
punching
their
people with their small hands.
despite their small stature, they aim to be on the front lines.
Yes. So that was my idea, or at least with the character.
All right. Then tell us. Were you able to get to the personality traits and such?
That's what I'm going to now.
All right. Let's go ahead and see how it is on the spot. When you get there, we're gonna go ahead and see what it is that you can select from. What background are you thinking of going with for this?
Thinking of probably a field agent, a field agent.
Okay.
Because I would think that would be pretty neat, because I would think the fairy might need help in their venture
Mm-hmm.
of trying to prove themselves worthy.
Let's take a look. You said field agent, correct?
Yes.
You mean faction agent or no?
Oh, faction agent. Yes.
Okay, okay. So in this case, let's say for all intents and purposes, if this is to be made for the homebrew world, which faction would you want to be a part of?
So I can't remember their exact name.
Don't worry,
Or yeah.
they're in the world info in the Discord.
Oh, okay. Um, the it's it's basically the alternative version of the harps, but their way in method is with violence
Let's
and
see.
being all out there.
You see, you're talking about the order of the sorry, the Glory Seekers Guild, the ones that like kind of like a mercantile militaristic one. Yes.
Yes.
All right, all right. So with that, we have a Glory Seeker Guild. This is a fairy who determines to let the world know that they are a fucking force to be reckoned with, and don't you dare make fun of my stature.
Yes.
All right. Then go ahead and run us through this personality trait stuff that you're going with. The suggested ones will let you know what you can work with. Though, if you feel like it's not aligned with what you exactly you want to be doing, then you're more than welcome to make up your own, as we have seen with Max.
Okay, let's go. So, oh wait, why? What's wrong? That's weird. Hold on. Hmm.
Here.
I'll work
I've
with
gotta
it.
be going about now, so it's been lovely creating the lizard thing with you all.
Yes, of course.
It's been lovely.
It's been a pleasure having you join us, Bird. We will see you next time.
Yeah, I got
Okay.
Alright, let me go ahead and grab this little bean who refuses to come. So we're gonna have them join us on stream. Hello, Rocco. You're here with us now. And so, let's see.
Is it okay if I were to change my background by chance?
Yes, by all
Because
means, please.
soldier.
Soldier. Okay, let me know more about that.
Um, so so this little fairy is gonna be the good old foot soldier because I feel like that's mainly because I would think like this is like a recent turn of events where it's like he's just now in the army or they're just now in the army.
Okay.
Um, so they wouldn't have high standing anytime soon, but they were known amongst their race.
Okay. So that makes sense. It's enough that they do have like, because I think the soldier is like high enough of rank that they actually have like because there's some sort of badge you can show to showcase it, right? That like comes with the
Yeah.
starting equipment. Yeah. Okay, then let me know a little bit more about the personality traits you want to work with.
Okay.
Remember,
So
it's 2 personality traits and 1 of everything else.
okay. So one of the suggested personality traits is I would like to have I've lost too many friends and I'm slow to make new ones.
Okay.
So very secluded into themselves.
Okay.
And then if they do open up, I have a crude sense of humor.
All right. And on
Can you
top
hear
of
me?
yes, and then they have a crude sense of humor. All right, keep going.
Yes. So ideals, we got wait a second. Okay. Independence, when people follow orders blindly, they embrace a kind of tyranny.
Okay.
And then we got the bonds, which is honor is my life, obviously.
Okay.
And
So on
then
honor,
when
we must bring honor and not disrespect either yourself or your own name.
yes.
And the flaw.
Okay, wait a second. Okay. I would say Yeah, okay. The monstrous enemies we faced in battle still leaves me quivering with fear.
Ooh, okay. So maybe not humanoids, but like if you're encountering monsters, that could be a very big thing. And so, like you said, this was a Fey fighter. Sorry, a fairy fighter. We have the Locathic Swarmkeeper Ranger. And Max, you had said you made what again?
Get Yankee Gravity Wizard.
All right. Get the Yankee Gravity Wizard. We have we have Wizard, Ranger, and Fighter. And he made a Klingon fairy. That's great. And Skittles, what was the character that you had made again for this? Because I know Bird's not here, so I didn't want to pull up the other Ranger. As far as like race and class was. Let's see. The random one we made. Okay, so it was the bag of the app. Let me pull it up. Yes, I know. You are a big baby right here. Skittles 2, which was the Orc Sorcerer. Okay, so we got a Sorcerer, we got a Wizard, we got a Ranger, and a Fighter. Pretty interesting idea. Plus, it's a Shadow Sorcerer. Now, these four are now a new party. They are heading into the homebrew world, and they are going to form a collective group that's going to go kick ass and take names. It is an interesting dynamic too. The shadow sorcerer orc is very rare to see in orc things because as it is, orcs and goblins and most races of those kinds don't usually revere magic very well and don't have a lot of it. So to have an orc of shadow origin is a pretty huge deal for them. And then we take this idea, and let's take a look if the randomizer also gave us the descriptions and stuff. It did not, but it did make you a criminal and spy in the background. So we got a criminal spy, a smuggler, a bounty hunter, and a soldier. Talk about a kind of like a interesting origin story for like this party altogether. Two of them are on the wrong side of the law. Two of them are on like okay terms with the law. And with the ranger and the orc probably have been like a partner in duo, or maybe they dealt with a lot of things. I'm curious to see if the soldier and the bounty hunter knew each other at some point. So they already have like two characters that knew each other, and that's also a good thing when it comes to character creation. If you can make player characters know each other ahead of time, and like you can build that into your backstory, it makes running the game that much smoother because then your characters have history to work with, and can kind of form that rather than characters that form on the spot. Which not to say it's impossible, but it definitely does help. So here, if we have this in mind, now what would you guys say is their how do our characters get into the conundrum that they are? Let's go with the premise of that, like we're all joining a sort of bounty hunters thing. And we did this because I guess let's say the guild, the Glory Seekers Guild, decided to pair us all up together because they saw that we would probably be a pretty good team dynamic. So what brought you to this point to join the Glory Seekers Guild and become a bounty hunter for the purpose of the campaign? Not the background, but the purpose of the campaign. Starting with, Suicide Squad much. Let's start with Mex or Eli, whoever wants to go first.
You can go if you have it set up.
Okay. So this is you said this is a bounty hunter's guild, right?
Yes. This is the Glory Seekers Guild. So we're a guild that is formed for helping adventurers get jobs, giving them quests to do, as well as like offering like safe houses in the terms of inns and taverns. And money paid not only helps support the inn, but it also helps support the guild.
Okay. I would think like because stuff is slow in the army right now. My character will be in this guild trying to help out people,
Okay.
because to help fund the guild, because I would think it would help other communities as well as the army.
Okay.
And to keep themselves entertained, they'll be taking bounties, or at least like going on adventures with people.
Okay. So, and this is also to iterate. I know this is always something that's been hard for me to imagine, but your character is still technically a part of the militia, and they're from the way you're describing this, they're kind of like taking a break because there's no real wars or like battles to be fought at the moment, right?
Yes.
Okay. So in the meanwhile, you're kind of like still on call for when there is a big war battle that needs to be done. But in the time being, your community or your region is going through a time of peace. All right, you join this to try to get some action in your life and try to get more well known. Maybe they'll even help you rise in the ranks when it comes down to being when you do get called for a battle. Okay, let's listen to Mex.
So the reason I originally had for this guy joining any group is typical Githyanki. I really hate the mind flayers.
Mm-hmm.
So joining this guild that's about getting fortune and money and information and stuff like that. Uh, he joined as an attempt to gather any information or any connections that would get him information on possible like mind flayers nest and stuff like that for wiping them out.
Okay. That way, and maybe even if not that, just get more information on dealing with mind flayers in general, right? Because I'd imagine while, yes, you are level 3, it doesn't mean you're a master of dealing with mind flayers yet.
Yeah, I was probably gonna have it do. He could see this as a way of maybe helping people who've been affected by them. Because they have like inns and stuff where people might be able to get a little bit of their stuff together, even working at the inns or at least a place to rest.
Okay. And lastly, I am seeing it in the text before I go in. So we got a spy for the Orc Society that she came from. Go to see what other races, places are all about, and I fit in better than most because I play like I was an outcast from my home due to being a sorcerer. That's a pretty good one. Who knows? It might be one of those things where the character grows to like the party too much, or maybe the character just eventually grows to realize that their greater purpose is to continue to serve their Orc Society, and they continue along with their plan. So for me, this little Catholic smuggler, I'm gonna make it that he might have said one too many lies on accident, and one of those lies was that he was one of the members of this guild. And so when brought to like, oh really? Well, we need help with this. Fuck. Sure, yeah. Let me just head over to the guild hall and go grab my party. I'll be back. And yeah, he kind of joined this guild because he might have gotten caught in a lie, and he needed to like prove that he was part of the guild and that he does have a party. So very much this, like Skittle said, it's like a Suicide Squad where it's like, are you in a party? No. Are you in a party? No. Are you in a party? No. Perfect. Let's go. I got a quest for you guys. And on top of this, that creates a kind of like, well, maybe not the main quest. It creates a nice dynamic where it forms a character who has to who we have a reason to get together. Whether or not it's because it helps you guys, it definitely helps my character. And hey, there's a reward involved in the quest. So then we go, we talk, who knows, maybe it's like, oh, we need to go kill these people in this cave, this group of bandits is in trouble, and as we go help, we learn we like each other, and we like working together, and so we maintain this party status and move forward with it. What do you guys think? And once again, this is part of the character creation, because when it comes down to it, character creation is also party creation. You typically work with your party to realize how you guys want to go about with your dynamic and stuff.
I feel like that works because from the sound of like most people's like why they're here, they would be like really new to the guild. So this would seem like, oh, nice, we're here. It's a nice, quick first job.
Right. Eli, what would you think if that was the way the campaign started?
Oh, my mic is here. I think will be perfect. I mean, considering it's adventure. It's something not boring.
Exactly. I know you are currently driving, but I don't know if you want to chip in with what you thought of this start. But this is a nice way for us to really get into this is why our characters got together. And so we now have a start. We now have a party put together, and we're able to run a campaign, and we're able to just be it. All we need to do is just find a DM who wants to DM for us, and that's kind of one of the beautiful things. Character creation is just now all of a sudden, oh, there's another campaign. Oh, my character dies. Oh, I left the campaign. I'm joining somewhere else. Then you got to do the process all over. So it's like, oh man, it takes forever. But when you realize it, probably the longest part is coming up with a backstory, which is what we kind of all just came up with on the spot. It doesn't even have to be like a detailed one. You can always flesh it out even further as you go into the campaign, or you can also work with your DM to get your background more developed. But all of a sudden, we have a full-fledged party with each character that has a purpose for wanting to stay in the party, and a purpose for and aspirations of their own. And all it took was picking a race, picking a class, and picking a background. What do you guys think? Was there something in particular that you would have wished to know more about character creation, or something that maybe when you started out that you wish you had known then that you do now when it comes to character creation?
You guys can hear me.
Yes.
I think for me, again, it was the roles. Like, I didn't know how to do stats. I barely knew that, like, most classes and races, like, had certain stats that you needed to boost. So, like, your paladin example, I was very much not aware that, you know, as a certain type of class, you should be putting more stat into this than that. And I was like, oh, okay, so I'm just going to build this. I want them to be strength. I want them to be healthy, so I put stuff in con. Like, I didn't understand that. And a couple of my very first experiences with tabletop role-playing were kind of shit, because my characters would die and I would be like, what's going on? I don't understand. It seems like a good idea,
Right.
but it never panned out.
And so, it especially is one of those things where I think if there's any stat that gets undersold for what it's doing, it's Constitution. There are a lot of people who are like, it's just Constitution. There's no skills associated with it. There's no it doesn't look like it's that crazy of a stat until people realize that that is the stat that determines your health per level, as well as how well can you intake poisons. That at low levels, man, poison is really fucked up. What it can do to a character, and even at high levels, depending on the poison, it can really do something to a person. And overall, if you're a spellcaster, Constitution affects how well you can maintain concentration on spells. It is such a important stat that is primarily passive and or reactive.
Yeah, I've never made that the dumb stat, like, ever. It's always been higher up on the priority list, but I just didn't know at the time that it shouldn't be my priority.
Right. It's one of those things where it's like, yes, having that health is nice, but it's never really worth making Constitution your absolute highest stat. Maybe as a barbarian, yes, but at the moment, not really. Alright. What about Mex or Eli? Something that that you're glad you know now when it comes to character creation that you wish or you just did not know when it came to starting off?
Well, I mean, one of the few things, considering that my first character is a warlock, how important, like, the what you're proficient in is.
Yes.
Like, how much it will affect, how you can do things.
It is, well, yes. It sucks if a DM only makes the game combat centric, because then it's like, well, what are these proficiencies for? Don't worry about them. You're never going to use them. It's like, no, they're so important. Perception is one of the most reliable stats you can do. A lot of the intelligence-based ones maybe don't get used that often based off the DM, but if there is a DM that does run games that rely on intelligence-based skill checks, then you're in for a doozy, because that means that they made a very lore-heavy world that they just want to gush all over you about. And you can never underestimate stealth. The ability to just be unseen. White shadow. I can still see you, white shadow. So much. Plus, I don't know if you heard in the beginning, but I had mentioned that I am adding in a homebrew rule to backgrounds that the two skills associated with your backgrounds and or proficiencies you get, if once per long rest, you can make a reroll on one of those checks because it's to show your kind of like experience with said skill. A nice little thing that maybe might not get used that as much as people think, but when it does come up, it's going to be very nice to have. But Mex, I know you are also someone who is extremely experienced in character creation. What's something that you know now that you wish you had known then, or just completely were unaware of?
I know I had one, and I just completely forgot. But another thing that okay, I remember. Your abilities, like for your class and for your race. Because I'm used to games where it's like, oh, you like now is the time to use this ability. Now it's the time to use that. Because if you don't read them carefully and understand them, sometimes you might. Because I know it happens a lot. We have people who take the lucky feat and then completely forget that they have the lucky feat, and then they get screwed over, and they don't realize till after they've been screwed over that I could just use this whenever. There's not like a very specific situation I need because they just sometimes don't understand how the ability works, or the wording is a little bit confusing for them.
Right. Now here, I'm gonna pull up each of the backgrounds we had selected. Because I agree with you. It is crazy how none of everyone seems to be forgetting how abilities work, how features work, and more importantly, how background feature works. For your background, you said you picked Bounty Hunter. Were you referring to Urban Bounty Hunter, or was there another one?
Yeah, urban bounty hunter.
All right, we got Urban Bounty Hunter, we got Smuggler, we got Soldier, and we got Spy. No, we're looking for Criminal/Spy. All right, we'll go from alphabetical order, starting with the Criminal/Spy. Okay. The feature, Criminal Contact. You have a reliable and trustworthy contact who acts as your liaison to a network of other criminals. You know how to get messages to and from your contact, even over great distances. Specifically, you know the local messengers, corrupt caravan masters, and seedy sailors who can deliver messages for you. This is an ability that is not going to show up in your abilities and features. It's actually going to show up in your description. It's an ability that people will forget. And on top of this, it's also something that when it comes down to when you use it, because it doesn't have any terms of like once per long rest, or like you make this associated skill check, it's an entirely roleplay based feature. And it's so important. It's crazy how people won't pull this up because they just forget that their background feature is a thing. I think I heard someone was about to say something. Alright, from here, we head on over to the Smuggler. Feature, down low. You're acquainted with a network of smugglers who are willing to keep you out of tight situations. While in a particular town, city, or other similarly sized community, DM's discretion, you and your companions can stay for free in a safe houses. Safe houses provide a poor lifestyle. While staying in a safe house, you can choose to keep your presence and that of your companions a secret. Soldier. Here's one that's interesting. Military rank. You have a military rank from your career as a soldier. Soldiers loyal to your former military organizations still recognize your authority and influence, and they defer to you if they are of a lower rank. You can invoke your rank or exert influence over other soldiers and requisition simple equipment or horses for temporary use. You can also usually gain access to friendly military encampments and fortresses where your rank is recognized. And finally, we have the Urban Bounty Hunter. Feature, ear to the ground. You are in frequent contact with people in that segment of society that your chosen quarries move through. These people might be associated with the criminal underworld, the rough and tumble folk of the streets, or members of high society. This connection comes in the form of a contact in any city you visit, a person who provides information about the people and places of the local area. So I just noticed this. Because of the way all four of our backgrounds work, all of us have some sort of connection and some sort of people to talk to. For the criminal spy, it's like the underworld.
For the smuggler, it's like fellow smugglers. For the soldier, it's people who are of the military. And for the urban bounty hunter, it's your ear to the ground. We all have some sort of contact that we can get in contact to. So it's like, you all arrive in town. What are you gonna do? Hey guys, we're all gonna split up and go over to our respective contacts, right? Yeah, perfect. Let's go. And we go.
You know, like the first time meeting each other, you kind of eyeball the other person. It's like, I know him from somewhere. I need to shh about it.
Mm-hmm. It's really great because you would totally have run into their profession or their type running around the world or just doing in your profession.
It's like that silent recognition, and like, so gotta keep each other's secrets now.
Right? Hello, person who I've never met before in my life. How are you doing?
Like you said, people rarely use their background things, but I feel like when people do use them, it tends to have a really good effect on at least that session. Like I know Cake, when he was playing his rogue, he got them a lot of extra information they wouldn't have gotten anywhere else without his information. Or like I think the Saturday group, Zio with his like soldier or mercenary background.
Yep.
He was able to get them in with more official and like authority figures.
Right. There's so much that when it comes down to like how your background can really influence it. And it's not even just that. Like, let's say for example, you know, an example from the Saturday group that like rarely utilized their noble lineage was like there were two nobles, both of which only really referenced their nobles when it came to like, hey, I now have the means to get this done. Hey, can you go get this done for me? Yeah, sure. Okay, my background's done. Versus people who maintain their background and wish to continue the influence of that background throughout their adventure. You'd be surprised that like dumping your background's ability for the sole sake of like character development can be good for a roleplay standpoint, but remember that by doing so you're very much like not able to utilize that background feature. Maybe you weren't utilizing it before, but it is something very good to pay attention to. Like, yo, you're about to lose out on what this benefit is giving you, and sometimes that benefit can be really huge for where you end up in the campaign. But so we've gone over backgrounds, like how the abilities and features go. What are some of our biggest things that we wish we knew, and we even made a party of 4. So then let me ask this of you guys: if there were, how do I put this? If there was a way that you could make the background's character development that much easier, what would you do? Something that would make it like a newbie better understand. Because for me, I like the idea of just basically going with, hey, as much as there's a lot of options, just take a look. You just have 3 things you need to pick. From there, we can kind of flesh it out from there.
Okay, yeah, I would, I guess, add more, I guess, like, I'm trying to think. Add more example descriptions, like more descriptions, and then they'll give like some sort of like example, or like a little video attached to it, showing like how it would be used, and like other examples of like, oh hey, Constitution saving throws are mainly used when it comes to like making sure that you will survive something. Just something simple like that.
I agree 100%. There are so many video references that you can do, but one of my favorite ones to always pull up is the Crap Guide to D&D, a video playlist that very much like, here's a quick little 3 to 4 minute segment about how this class is like, what's the thematic thing about this class, what's pretty important to this class, and kind of like what you get throughout levels with this class.
I don't think you ever explored like backgrounds though.
Right.
Not fully.
Here, detail more, like what would you have wanted?
For me?
Yeah.
For me, I do like the backgrounds they have. They're kind of broad and more like professional adventure type of things, but I need more, Farmer John who needs to get revenge because all of his crops got burned down by this or that sorcerer, and he decided to pick up his pitchfork and march out on his own. Or, the empty nester widower who just happened to learn magic, or is a really powerful druid but never had the opportunity to because she settled down and had a family, so now she's like in her middle ages and going out and kicking ass and taking names.
Right.
I need more of that.
I think here. Let me see. There's a yes. Okay. So one of the big things is it kind of is a shame that there's always that one. There's always the people who are like, I see this list of backgrounds, but nothing really quite what I want. And so, when in doubt, that's why always since the beginning of the game there has been custom background. I'm gonna quickly change. Actually, let me.
Right, just like what I've done is generally take the idea of a thing, or if we're doing like a pre-made module and use the ideas that they have, but like custom background deal.
Right. Let's see. So when we do that, that custom background kind of is like, I get what you're saying. Especially when like pre-made modules have like adventuring hooks for these backgrounds, it's like, well, what about my background? What about this one? Or the ones that weren't in the player's handbook? It's like, talk to a DM. That's why I like the idea of, we take a look at, hold on. Come here. You are going to be up here. I am not about to have you mess around with me while I'm chilling. Chill. Yeah, there we go. So, if we take a look in custom background, it's one of those things that it's just a shame that all it really has going for it is a name, a description of it, and then pick a proficiency. Proficiency language choices. So when you pick a background, you do name, you give us a good description of what it is, and then from here, you have three options when it comes down to how do you get proficiencies in languages. You can either have 2 skills and 2 tool proficiencies, 2 skills and 2 language proficiencies, or 2 skills followed by 1 tool and 1 language proficiency. From there, you can actually pick a background feature from any of the other backgrounds. So it's like, I like this background feature for what I need it to be. I'm going to take this background feature and provide it to mine. And lastly, the characteristics of that background. Same thing, where it's like, I like the suggested characteristics of this one, but it wasn't quite for this feature, and it didn't have these skills. So I'm going to take the characteristics of that background, mix it with the background feature of another one, and personally choose one of the 3 options for my proficiency language of choice. So let's see if I go to A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, E, F. Yes, farmer is not a background. What a shame. How dare they not let me live out my fantasy of being Farmer Brown. So we take the farmer background. We, hold on. Come here. Chill. I need to chill. Alright. We take the farmer background.
And like, think about how strong they are, so they'd be like proficient with athletics.
Mm-hmm. Here, let's do 2 skills and 2 tools, because that makes sense for the farmer. They didn't really learn a lot of languages. Let's see. For...
Yo.
Oh, hey, EJ.
What's up, dog?
Not much. We're right now talking about Character Creation 101, and we're talking about customizing backgrounds.
Oh.
He gets the alchemist set because moonshine.
Yeah.
You should totally go through and make one.
Yes, okay. EJ, for the purpose of today, you are going to make a random character on the spot.
This is
Level
okay.
3.
Level 3 character random on the spot in case I don't want to tell you what has been taken up, but would you like to know what everyone has picked for this imaginary quest, for this imaginary party that we're trying to form?
Well, I've always wanted to try support. So
Okay.
I want to go if it hasn't been taken, either
What? We got a shadow sorcerer. We got
I want to go with the mage.
a mage. So like what? If you're looking for a mage support, druid, bard, cleric. Especially if you're like looking to like what, like, do you want to be utility support or healing support?
I
Tank
wanna be able to heal, buff, and like
cleric and bard. Druid can
Yeah,
also.
I'd pick more bard.
Yeah, I think bard is usually best at buffing and debuffing, in my opinion.
Alright, can you still do damage?
Yes, they can.
Yes.
Technically, all of them can do damage.
So do I do standard, quick build, or randomize?
You can do standard quick build.
Alright, standard.
Standard.
Ba 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 ba. EXP or milestone?
No, it doesn't matter. It's literally just for the purposes of like this whole like imaginary campaign that we're running in. But yes. So for example, let me kind of let you know about what we've been doing while you work on that, okay? So,
Alright.
we have me, the Locathic Swarmkeeper Ranger, who was a smuggler. I have a bad penchant for lying, and while lying is my personality trait, it's also kind of my flaw, where I kind of lie on. Lying is like a reflective. It's a reflex of mine, and I kind of don't know how to stop it. Well, everyone else, go ahead. Tell him your character, because this is the first time he's hearing it.
Well, I made a Githyanki Gravity Wizard who is a urban bounty hunter, who's quick to make plans and not lose his cool, but is also quick to get out of there if things starts going bad.
Okay.
Eli and Skittles.
I don't.
Eli.
I don't know if she's here or not.
No. Eli, Skittles, are you guys there?
I know Zeno said he was a liar, but I promise there's more members.
I know, right? I know. Here, let me, Skittles is a half orc? I'm trying to remember. Let me pull up the character again. Hold on. Skittles 2 is a orc, yes. A orc shadow sorcerer, who is a very rare thing in their community. And she is unaware to our characters. Her character is a spy, come here to like get more information about the other races and places and what they're kind of all about.
I have a question.
What's up?
What's Paladin?
Paladin is a frontline support that has healing and is more well. I think Paladin is definitely the most damaging of all the supports because it has smite built in.
Dang. Yeah, I think I'll go with that because can Paladin buff too or no?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I guess I'll go with Paladin. Proficiencies.
What
Choose Paladin skill.
What race did you select?
I chose Elf.
Ooh, what kind?
Wood.
A wood elf paladin. Okay. Also,
Is there like a difference?
yes. Different elves come from different regions and typically have different abilities that they go with. Wood elves are more, nature elves. High elves are more magically imbued elves, and drow are more what was it before? I'm trying to think of a word that isn't evil because they're trying to change that. They are definitely more militaristic. They have more proficiencies with weapons and such, and they also are Underdark already, so their dark vision is superior compared to the others.
I think I'll change it to High Elf because I want my magic to be really good.
Okay.
High Elf, cantrip. Choose a spell. Firebolt.
Yep.
Extra language.
When in doubt,
Common.
firebolt.
Firebolt it out.
And so, we also have Eli, who was making I gotta remember his character because I have like a very quick like memory loss thing going on right now. Duh.
I am back.
There he is, Eli.
Extra
Yes.
language.
Explain your character to EJ since he does not know what it is.
My character is essentially a fairy who, didn't like the fact that, or no, he didn't like the magic, and he wanted to prove himself as like a warrior of some sort. and so he went to the army to be a soldier, and he is a fighter as well. So yeah.
Okay.
So with that, we got a fighter, a ranger, a sorcerer, a wizard, and now a paladin. It's funny that you said you wanted to be a support when I'm like looking at our party composition. I'm like, we're kind of missing a support.
So the paladin has a fighting style. It's defense, dueling, great weapon fighting, and protection.
Yes.
Can you give me a little bit more insight?
Yes. It really depends on like what it is you kind of want to be running with. So for example, let me pull up paladin again. There you are. All right. I pull up paladin. I pull up class features, and I'm gonna the different fighting styles. Defense is a bonus. It gives you a +1 bonus to your armor class, so it makes it so you're even tankier than you normal, and you prioritize defensive abilities. Dueling is when you're wielding a melee weapon in one hand and no other weapon in the other, indicating that you can have a shield in the other hand, or you can just be like a one-handed like duelist,
Mage.
right? Oh no, yeah, actually that also works too. And so dueling gives you a +2 bonus to damage rolls with the weapon that you're wielding in one hand, so long as there's no other weapon in the other.
Okay.
Great weapon fighting is if you want to wield two-handed weapons, because it allows you to re-roll 1s and 2s on damage dice.
Okay.
Protection, if you are wearing a shield and there is an ally within 5 feet of you is being targeted, you can use your reaction to impose disadvantage on the roll by putting your shield in between the attack. And there are others. Fighting style options. Blessed Warrior is what allows you to actually pick cantrips on top of whatever you know, because paladins don't get cantrips innately. Blind fighting is pretty obvious what it is. You have a blind sight out to a range of 10 feet, so meaning when someone steps within 10 feet, you can see them even if you're blinded. And so this is like so you can see invisible creatures while you're blinded.
All right.
And interception. When a creature you can see hits a target other than you within 5 feet of you with an attack, you can use your reaction to reduce the damage by 1d10 plus your proficiency. And you must be wielding either a shield or a simple or martial weapon to use this reaction. So,
I think I'm gonna go with protection because throughout my personal experience with our campaign, there are a lot of times where that probably would have like saved a lot.
Exactly. It definitely is one of the fighting styles I don't hear people take often, because usually people prioritize their own stuff. Like I want defense, I want damage. But to hear someone take the protection one, that's pretty nice. And that means you're going to be using a shield then, by the way, because that's the only way you can use it.
For me, when I think of support class, I think of like, all right, I can handle myself, but I more so rely on my party.
That's a good way of looking at it. Okay, so then from there you got your class, you got your race,
I got Oath of Devotion. That's like the only one I can choose.
That's because you made it on your own, but that's fine. You can still work with Devotion. Let's take a look at Devotion. Channel Divinity, Sacred Weapon, Turn the Unholy, Aura of Devotion. You can't. Creatures can't. You and allies can't be charmed while they're within your aura. You're always under the effect of protection from evil and good. And Holy Nimbus. When you hit 20th level, you emanate an aura of sunlight. You literally become like the fucking sun god.
How do I do the rolls for my because I'm on the ability scores?
Yeah. Do you see how if you go to so when you're selecting the drop down, you want to select manual/roll.
All right.
Do you see options for 6 different slots and it says roll, right?
Roll.
Yeah. Go ahead. Click each individual one.
All right. I got a 13 for my first one.
All right.
I got a 14 for my second one.
Okay.
I got a 16 for my third one.
Oh, hold on. Let me see. 16, right?
I got a 13 for the next one. I got an 11. And I got a 16. Damn, my stats are good.
Yeah, those are some pretty solid stats that takes you above 75. So from there, these would be the stats. You just click the drop down beneath each one says which stat you want to assign it to. As a paladin, charisma is what your spells scale off of. Strength is what your damage of your weapons is. And constitution is your health. That is definitely a good recommendation for a paladin.
Alright, so I'm going to go at charisma for one of the 16s.
Okay.
And then I'm going to do strength for the next one. I'm going to do constitution for one of my 14s actually. Constitution. So you said what matters is strength, constitution, and charisma, right?
Yes.
So my strength and constitution. Wait. CHA. No, my strength and.
Charisma.
Yeah, hold up. Yeah. I need to change that. So my strength and constitution are 16. My charisma is a 14. And all I have is dex, intelligence, and wisdom.
Yep. Good recommendation. Since you're so strength focused, dexterity is a stat that you'll probably almost never use.
Boom. Done.
And then from there, just now you have a character. Now you have a new character that you made.
I named him Okuzen.
Okuzen?
Yeah, which is Nezuko spelled backwards.
Wow.
That is, yeah. Okay, I like that.
I believed it that it was something unique, but it was no, I'm kidding. It's still unique. So
I like how it sounds though.
yeah, it really does sound good. From here, go to your background, you select it, and now this is just it's character creation. We have come up with your race, we've come up with your class, and I'm assuming it's a pretty easy to understand method, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
But as you're going through the background, let me ask you this, EJ. What is something that you that is one of your favorite things when it comes to making a character?
When it comes to making a character, I feel like it's really good because I can self-insert. Because whenever I always like play a game where I can make a character, I try to self-insert because it's like the only way really I can truly get the most out of it. So I made an elf because I've always pointy ears are cool to me. So I'm like, all right, we cover that base. I've always wanted to do spells, so I think that's cool. I like supporting because I don't mind playing it in many of the games I do, and I do like class because I feel like it's easy to pick up Buttmaster. And then it's not hard. I do like support class. It's either that, thief, or knight.
That thief or knight? Okay. Well, paladin is definitely like a holy knight.
Yeah.
And so
I chose soldier as my background.
Okay. So here we go. We got two people that are soldiers. This is gonna make a good type of. You guys probably knew each other at some point.
Yeah.
And it's also kind of funny that the two people who are having the soldier background are both like fey creatures. Elves and like fairies aren't typically like most well known for like being these like really brawny soldier type characters.
Oh,
Arcana's
so
magic, right?
Yes.
And then wait, dice set, dragon, chess set, playing card, 3 dragon, ite set. What's the last one?
What game are you really good with? And Three Dragons Ante is like a D&D exclusive game.
Oh, I love chess.
All right.
Military rank, right? Chaotic good. Because actually no. I'm gonna say neutral.
Neutral good or just pure neutral?
I'm gonna just say pure and neutral because. Wait, what's the one where it's like Deadpool? Because I fight for the side which I think is right.
Deadpool is, in my opinion, chaotic good.
All right, then I'll go with that one. Faith.
That's it. That's if you have a god you pray to, which typically it's in line with a paladin have. And in case you're wondering, this is set in the homebrew world. So like if you're looking for a pantheon, I don't know if you're already a part of the RP area of the server.
No, not yet. I'm trying. I'm thinking about my character.
Oh no, but you do have the role. So if you scroll down, do you see the world and map info?
I'm going. Yeah, world and map info.
Yep, I have updated that with the list of the upper pantheon. So this is the main gods that originally started everything. We're in the creation mythology.
Sick. I'm gonna go Avi.
Avi. The god.
Sounds.
The god of anti-magic.
Right. Wait, what's the god of Twilight?
40s, one of the reflections of humanity. They represent the aspiration that we have to protect others.
Yeah, that sounds cooler.
All right.
I mean, anti-magic is cool too, but like, it aligns more with the character.
Yes. And
Lifestyle, modest.
Mm-hmm. And so now it's kind of like, we have a character. Let us know a little bit more. What is your mindset with this character? Why do they like to protect? Give us a little. What's going on in your mind right now when it comes to this?
All right. So for the notes and most likely the backstory. For me, I'd say they like to help and save others because as a soldier, they have seen many of their comrades fall, and it hurts and haunts them.
All right.
So, yeah, I'd say like they've been on adventures and they've been out of the town as like a soldier to handle things, and many of their like close comrades and most likely probably even their best friend has fallen. So they decided to change from soldier and be someone instead of like being just like fight, someone to protect and fight. So that way he's really loving and caring and cares about the entire team.
All right. So then here, now that we have that, I'm gonna throw you with the hypothetical start to our adventure that I came up with.
Okay. So,
all of us are going to be adventurers and partaking in the Glory Seekers Guild. If you're wondering what that is, it's literally right above the pantheon of gods. It'll explain like what the guild's about. But
which guild?
The Glory Seekers Guild.
All right.
So, simple and short, the Glory Seekers is the one that handles like quests, inns and taverns, and they just try to help adventurers get jobs to go and aid the people of the world. My character, it was interesting that every one of our characters goes there for some reason. But I came up with this idea that my character, because he's a pathological liar, he lied to someone and how he's like really in with like the Glory Seekers Guild, and so someone was like, they kind of caught him in his lie. It's like, oh really? Then you can help me out with this quest, right? And he's like, yeah, sure. I'm gonna go inside and grab my party. I'll be right back. Runs inside the Glory Seekers Guild and like, are you with the party? Are you with the party? Are you with the party? Here, come with me. I got a quest for us. And so, thus begun the kind of like, we got our first quest, even though we aren't like an officially assigned party. And then from there, we kind of like learn to like each other and move on together as a party that helps people and goes after our own endeavors and aspirations.
All right.
And so that was the kind of like hypothetical. This is how we go about making characters. This is how we go about like working with our party to come up with a story to work as one. Because in the end, one good thing I always recommend to people is when you're doing character creation, collaborate with your party member and talk to your DM about like how is it you can make your background truly stand out and where you come from. Really make it fleshed out. And talking to your party will really help establish not just character build, but also like, let's say if any of your guys' characters know each other already, that's just what I told you was the way the adventure started, but who knows, maybe you and Eli's character already knew each other before you walked into that building.
Alright.
Yeah.
Why does this have to be hypothetical? Why can't it be a real discussion?
I know. I would love to add on another game, maybe in the future. Right now, I'm still in the process of managing like my move, and when I actually move up north to Seattle with Skittles, I'll probably rearrange my streaming schedule based off of how my work is, and who knows, maybe I'll be able to fit in a 5th game that I can run someday.
That was always the downfall of doing just random character creation. You get attached to them really easily.
Mm-hmm. Yes. In case you are wondering, EJ, this character who you have just made, there's no, all of this was hypothetical campaign for the purposes of.
I'm gonna use them.
Yo, you're planning on using him?
Oh,
Okay.
Fuck yeah.
Okay, I can't wait for that, because didn't we make another character for you and you didn't end up using them for the current campaign you're in?
I honestly lost that character sheet. I'm not gonna say her friend.
Oh.
Like I know it's in our DMs, but I just can't get back to to edit it.
Oh no, it's all good. I'm very much this is part of what it is to play D&D. You know, you make a character, you end up like really liking them, and there was like a video. Here I'll pull it up. It's like making a character sheet for D&D. One shot.
Attuned magic items. Alright.
One shot D&D. Let me see. There's a dude who I've been like. Oh, hold on. There it is. One shot questers videos. Oh, here we go. Becoming a player in Dungeons & Dragons. I'm just gonna put this up quickly, and this is gonna showcase like me interacting with EJ. I don't know if any of you guys are watching the screen share.
I am.
All right, you Eli. All right, here we go.
Microphone and some sound pads. Okay, way to ruin the magic of this sketch. Anyway, I just wanted to congratulate you with the recent success of D&D. Oh, thanks. Yeah, and I was wondering if you could teach me how to become a player. Oh yeah, it's easy. Barely an issue. All right, we're gonna start from the beginning. First off, you need to make a character. Okay, easy enough. Here's some class. All right, and let's see it. Okay, perfect. This is good. This is great. All right, let's go ahead and make another character. Oh, was it not good enough? No, it was. Just make another character. Okay? Great. Amazing. Make another one. But I really like that one. Just make that. Best one yet. Make another. Another one. One more. Doing great. Keep it up. Ah, you have room for one more. Give him a twin brother. Love it. Make another one. Okay, how is this helping me? How's what helping me? Being a player. I made like 20 characters. 18 of them I will never use. Well, why didn't you just stop? Let's move on. So now you have your characters. Now all you need is dice. Oh, I like those ones. And some more. Oh, I think one pair is enough.
Oh god.
Anyway, here's 5 more sets. Perfect, I was running out. Now all you need to do is find a dungeon master. Okay, well, you did make the game. Could you be my DM? Where did... Hello? Hey, where did you go? Oh, I'm in the middle of a jungle. What? Okay, how and why? Oh, because I need to make it extremely hard for you to find me. Why? Well, I don't know. I just don't want you to find me. Come on, man. Could you just DM for me so I can play? I don't know. I'll buy you dinner. Great job! Everyone knows that a way to a DM's heart is to offer them food. How did you get here so fast? I just walked back in the frame. Whatever. Can we just play D&D now? Yep. Just sign this contract where you state you give 4 more hours of your time each time you play the game. Oh my gosh. And here's a list of things to message me when I ask you if you're ready to play tonight. These are just a list of vague excuses on why I can't play tonight. Yep. That's what we want to hear. Are you alright? Nope. No. Okay, well, this has been great and all, but I don't think I'm gonna play. I just don't think it's a good time. Congratulations. You have now become a D&D player. Yes! Well, it's all because I had a great teacher. Oh, stop it. Anyway, are you ready to play your first session? Oh, I can't today, no.
Yep.
That's pretty funny.
Yes. Becoming a player, making the hundreds of character sheets, collecting all the dice, and finding a DM. I know it's a bit intimidating for people to want to DM, but if you do find a DM who wants to stick around and play for you, it's a very good treat, especially one that you can build a long-lasting campaign with.
How do I keep this character?
How do you keep this character?
Yeah, because it's like view all my characters and it's like come together. Most D&D don't work alone. Blah blah. It's like start a new campaign.
Did you click create a character or create a campaign?
What do you mean?
Okay, so to view your character sheet, right? You finished up
Alright.
everything, right?
Yeah.
All
It's
right.
unassigned character is why. He didn't create it in one of your campaigns, so it's asking him to, hey, now that you're done with this, here's the next step.
Oh, okay. So yes, that's kind of like you can just leave the character as is and move on. To view your character, on the very top of D&D Beyond, you want to go to Collections, My Characters, and voila, there's a list of characters that you've made. If you're a non-subscriber, you can only have up to 6, and if you're a subscriber, there's an unlimited number of characters. I've made 65.
Whew, I am. Reason to subscribe.
Yes, it's a very good reason. And so that's kind of just this whole hypothetical idea. We've gone over what it is that everyone likes about making a character, what it is to kind of form a character with a hypothetical, with a party of people, collaborating with them, and even talking about like your origin, especially if you're working with a DM who has a good start for you guys are. So for you all, and if you all are on the same page of understanding where you're starting, coming together with talking to each other with an excuse as to why your characters work together is a very solid way of just getting the campaign started right away, and you guys can just jump into roleplay. But when in doubt, I always had to tell people this. There's no right way to play D&D, but there are plenty of wrong ways. Remember that table rules still matter. That for all intents and purposes, don't make your character an asshole and use the excuse it's just what my character would do, because that's just never a good thing. And I'm not even speaking to that for a particular reason that I'm sure some people know. That's just a general horror story trope. Don't be an asshole. Be cooperative, and try not. I guess the other thing is, if you're clearly seeing a direction that everyone's going, and you want to be this kind of like vindicator against it all, and you just provide more problems than you are solving, that probably is just probably not the group for you. There's a group for every person, regardless of whatever your playstyle is. If it turns out you just can't not be the person who you are, and it's kind of something that creates a clash with other people at the table, then talk to your team. Always communicate. Communication is very key. And if it turns out that it just doesn't work out in the end, then you find a group of people that are like you. You'd be surprised how like some groups enjoy having like people who are the way they are. Every group has their own dynamic, and my personal dynamic is I aim to make the game fun and comfortable for everyone to be a part of. But it is with all of this, with this hypothetical D&D campaign that we have come up with, and this start to a wonderful adventure in the homebrew world, that is where we're going to go ahead and end today's stream. Thank you everyone so much for tuning in. It's been a pleasure having you all join and watch us. If you enjoyed today's content, please be sure to support by following and subscribing on Twitch. For any more stream notifications, possible chance to participate, and even content polls, follow my Twitter and join the Undead Legion in Discord. And for any VODs of today's episode, check out the XenoLich YouTube channel. And of course, as always, don't forget, we have officially launched the text-based RP section of the server. So if you guys want to make those hypothetical characters and get them involved in the homebrew world before we even set up the streams, come on down, join the Discord, and make your character already. It's going to be really fun. We have a few people in there who have already begun some roleplay, and they're already exploring the world, and even more to come sooner. Thank you everyone so much for tuning in. I hope you all be safe and have a good night. Bye.
Have a good night.
Ta-ta.